So today we're going to be taking a look at another comic pack in the Star Wars action figure line, and that is from the 30th anniversary days, the Prince Xizor and Princess Leia pack for Shadows of the Empire. Now this is a pack I've been holding off for many years now. I actually didn't get this until around Thanksgiving time of last year, 2022. And it's just one of those packs that I kept passing up on. It's not the most exciting pack in the world, but after getting it in hand, I'm actually even more impressed with it than I originally thought I would be. And it's not a pack that is extremely hard to come by. I actually got this for about $25 brand new. So as far as comic packs go, if you know anything about the line, that's relatively cheap or on the cheaper end of the spectrum. But like I said, I'm very impressed with this pack. It turned out to be a lot more than I thought it was going to be. The Leia, as you can see right now, it's not the most beautiful looking Leia in the world, and I thought, well, just judging off of that alone, it's probably a mediocre comic pack at best. But after taking them out of the package, really impressed with how they turned out. So we'll go more into the action figures here in a little bit, but first, let's take a look at the package here. So back in the 30th anniversary days, it had the white background as part of the package. Good image of Leia there. Too bad that the way Leia looks in this image here didn't transition over to the action figure. Leia Organa, Prince Xizor, Shadows of the Empire #4. So we'll take a look at the comic book here in a second, but this is basically it's just a direct comic book interpretation from the book. Now, Shadows of the Empire is actually one of the first EU books I read, and I think I read it when I was about 8, 9 years old, actually. And I really enjoyed it at the time. And that's basically the book that jump-started my interest, or reading interest, that is, in the EU. So Prince Xizor there. If you know anything about Xizor, he's a member of the Black Sun organization. He was the head of it for the time. I'll let you read that there. Yeah, the leader of the Black Sun. And I actually recall the scene that both these figures are based off of. I recall reading that scene in the book at the time, and it's one of the scenes that I think stands out the most. And I do have this Grand Admiral Thrawn and Talon card pack reviewed on the channel if you want to check that out. And I have this Infinities pack as well. I do not have this middle one though, the Vader and the Grand Moff. Really miss these comic packs. I think these are some of the best action figures that Hasbro's ever produced. So that's the package there. Take a look at this comic book. Shadows of the Empire. Really like that artwork there. Luke Skywalker in his prime. It's the back there. Dark Horse Comics. And we'll look through it a little briefly. Lots of good artwork in here. But if you haven't read the book Shadows of the Empire at this point, I would highly recommend it for you. I think as far as getting to the expanded universe, this is one of the first books I would recommend anyone reading that wants to get into it. There is a video game for it as well that came out in the mid-90s. I've actually never played that video game. It's one of the few I just never got around to. Maybe someday I will. As far as I know, I think it's heavily based off of the book as well. There's kind of getting to that scene with Leia and Xizor here. And if you've read the book before, you would recall that Vader and Xizor aren't on the best of terms with one another, so it gets kind of nasty between the two of them. And I actually recall reading about it. This is, I think, more in line with what we see in the book. This scene here. And if this, I do recall reading about this scene in the book as well. I think you can read between the lines as to exactly what ended up going down between Vader and Xizor, if you haven't read the book already. And advertising 30th anniversary line again. I used to have the Sith Infiltrator. Unfortunately, I sold it years ago. I wish I still had it though. The landing gear was a little broken on mine, and it was that way when I purchased it. So someday maybe I'll get another Infiltrator. It would be a great HasLab project if they made it to scale. I don't think we're ever going to get that though. And same with the B-Wing. I used to have that as well. That's the comic book there. Like I said, highly recommend reading it. Probably the video game as well, the comic books, and the main novel itself. So let's take a look at Prince Xizor here first. Like I said, far more impressed with this than I thought I would be. I really like the color combination he has. This purple turned out really nice. Looks really good. Paint apps are nicely done. Head sculpt looks really nice there. And I really like the detailing in this. I'm not exactly sure what Xizor species is, but it looks kind of reptilian to me. Especially with this back here. So obviously these are soft goods, and then this is plastic as well. And personally, I think it's a good combination of this. Some people might complain, it's like, oh, it hinders the articulation in the legs, but I don't think it's a big problem. And Xizor is not someone you're going to have in too many dynamic poses anyway. So we'll look at the articulation first. He does have ball joint at the neck, and then he has hinge at the shoulders as well, hinge at the elbows, swivel wrists. It's a little tight, but this was in the package for probably like 15 years. Swivel waist, and he does have swivel hips there, and then hinged knees and hinged ankles as well. And that's one of the things I would say makes me more impressed with this action figure is I didn't think it had that much articulation going on with it just from the pictures I saw, and then when I get in hand it's like, oh, he is super articulated. So that was a really nice surprise. Just for his accessories, it comes with this staff here, which looks really nice. He holds it really well. He did have an elastic band around it. Unfortunately for both him and Leia, the elastic bands have rotted away, and when I opened them up, I just had to pull what was left of them apart and throw it away. So he won't have the elastic bands anymore. Like how he has that open hand there. The way I've been having them displayed, I have it where it's like stroking Leia's cheek, for example, like we saw in the comic book here. That's Prince Xizor. Again, a very niche character, not one I would probably say everybody's going to jump for joy for or is going to go out of their way to get, but he is probably one of the more famous characters from the Expanding Universe line. He's certainly been around for a long time at this point. At the time of this video, he's probably been a character for almost 30 years at this point. And for Leia here, like I said, not the most beautiful looking Leia in the world, but again, similar to Xizor, I'm actually more impressed with this action figure than I thought I would be. The only gripe I have about it is obviously with this cloak here, it doesn't really fit into place very well, and that could be from time or age. And the way it basically, there's only one position you can really fit her in where it actually works, and that's with her arms sprawled out like that. If you close her arms together, it doesn't really work very well. It just falls off. I will say, when you look at this in the package, it doesn't look very good at all. You think, oh my goodness, that's a awful looking action figure. But once you get it in hand and you look at it from some angles, it's not too bad actually. And I think it might be a better Leia than most. Paint is mostly good. It's a all blue suit here. Too bad they had to put the numbers and letters on her thigh there, the back of her thigh. So in terms of the articulation, she does have a ball joint in the neck. Restricted by her hair though, not really that big of a deal though. Again, Leia, how many dynamic poses are you going to put her in? Or at least this type of Leia. She does have hinge at the shoulders there. Nothing in the elbows, unfortunately. I think this is a figure that could have benefited from that. She does have swivel wrists though. She does have a swivel, not waist, but torso basically. Then she does have swivel hips, and then hinged knees and hinged ankles as well. In terms of the accessories, of course, she came with this cloak, very thin material. And like I said, the only way you can really get it to fit properly is if her arms are sprawled out. But at least it's easy to put on. Do something like that. And it looks pretty good if you can get it in a good position. But she just comes with this standard Rebel Blaster. Nothing unique about this at all. Same thing we've been getting with most, like the Rebel Fleet Troopers, for example. She did have an elastic band around this, and like I said, it's rotted away, unfortunately. And this with this action figure, I think she would have benefited a little bit from the elastic bands. She can hold her weapons mostly good, but it's not perfect. And she can't really hold anything in this hand at all, actually. Just too small of a grip. That looks pretty good there. But other than that, I think that's all there really is to say about this comic pack. Would I recommend it for your collection? I would, especially if you're a fan of Shadows of the Empire. Like I've said numerous times now, I'm very impressed with this pack, more than I ever thought I would be, and I'm glad to add it to my collection. And as far as comic packs go, if you're looking to get into them and you're on a budget, this is a great one to start off with. I got this for about $25, $26, brand new, and that seems to be around the going rate of this. Sometimes it might be as high as in the mid 30s or 40 range, and maybe sometimes you'll get lucky and see it for under $20. I don't know. And hard to believe we look back on it now, and at the time this pack was only like $9.99, and then look how far we've come in prices of action figures. Now TVC action figures $17, and here at the time we got 2 action figures and a comic book for $9.99. So it's interesting to see the evolution of that. I would recommend reading the book Shadows of the Empire, and if you're someone that's interested in getting into the expanding universe and not sure where to start, I think this is one of the best places you can start. Ties in between Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi very well, and gets you some exposure to some of the most famous EU characters of all time. But anyways, that concludes this review. I hope you enjoyed it. Stay tuned for more reviews in the future. There will be plenty more to come. And if you have not already, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. That way you know when more do get posted. And also check out that Instagram link in the description as well. More will be coming on that really soon. And thanks for watching.